Module 20, The Artist and the City, Edo. I, Dr. Rita Pratap, former head of the Department, Drawing and Painting, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. The Artist and the City, Edo. Japanese artists first began painting panoramic views of the city of Kyoto and its environs in the early 16th century. These cityscapes, known as views in and around capital, are typically in the form of pairs of 6-panel folding screens, with the eastern part of Kyoto on the right and the western part on the left. They combine aerial views of the city's celebrated palaces, temples, shrines, with glimpses of the public and the private activities of its citizenry. A folding screen painted by anonymous painter views in and around the capital, the architectural landmark, seasonal beauties and cultural activities of this panoramic view of Kyoto and its environs are shown with map-like clarity through bands of gold leaf clouds. The screens, the right at the top and left bottom, invite vicarious travel from the hilly suburbs dotted with temples and shrines into the city's grid-like streets dominated by the imposing residences of the nobility and military elite. In the bustling commercial districts is an eye-catching procession of colorful floats and highlight of the Gion festival, held annually in mid-July. Autumn foliage and snow-covered hills in the periphery further reinforce the image of the city as coherent and orderly universe. By the end of the 17th century, idealizing views of Edo and other urban centers had become ubiquitous in artistic media, ranging from painting and prints to textiles and lacquer. The city transformed the artist's sense of himself as well as his sense of space, of time, and of society. In the city, information material goods and leisure pastimes previously limited to the elite were readily available to all. Some artists moved from countryside to city or city to another of their own volition, but most, especially in the early 17th century, were offered incentives or even coerced to do so. Once established, they built up hereditary workshops, the most successful of which often flourished for generations. Some ateliers were also known by the location within the city. The Kyoto school, founded by Maruyama Okayo and Matsumura Goshun, was known as Maruyama Shijo, after Shijo, where Goshun resided. The 4 main branches of the Kano school in Edo were also known by the location of their studios as Kaibashi, Blacksmith's Bridge, Nakabashi, Central Bridge, Kobikicho, Lumb Mill District, and Hamacho, Beach District. The urban culture. Despite the shogunate's effort to maintain status-based distinctions, cultural tastes among the samurai, merchants, and artisans in the city were not as different as is commonly held. Rising income, increasing leisure, and growing literacy enabled most residents to engage in social and cultural activities to a degree unknown in earlier eras. Of the many pastimes available to them, the theatre and pleasure quarters were far by the most popular. But there were also festivals, paintings and poetry, gatherings and tea ceremonies. A screen painted by Hishikawa Moronobu is the backstage at a kabuki theatre. Moronobu adopted an aerial perspective to allow a panoramic view of actors backstage at Edo's Naka Muraza, dressing, putting on makeup and tuning their instruments before a performance. In the screen, a monk prepares ceremonial tea using utensils arranged on the rectangular stand before him, to name only a few. Since nearly all residents participated in such activities to some extent, it may be argued that the cultivation of leisure was a key element in urban culture. The pleasure quarters and the nearby kabuki theatres were primary centers of artistic activity and sources of inspiration for the many urban artists. Although Edo's Yoshiwara was the most famous, every large city had a licensed district with its own name and special identity. A popular 18th century saying held that the courtesans of Kyoto, Shimabara, were the most beautiful, those of Yoshiwara the most spirited, and those of Nagasaki, Maruyama, the best dressed, while Osaka, Shinmachi was unmatched in the splendor of its decor. The women of the pleasure quarters ranged from the sumptuously gowned and coiffured beauties known as tayu. An obi or sash tied in front was the hallmark of the tayu. These high-ranking courtesans were idealized figures to whom were attributed many of the qualities traditionally ascribed to the hereditary nobility. They were expected to be skilled in music, poetry, painting, calligraphy, and other arts. A hand scroll painted by Migawa Goshun, courtesans painting a standing screen from a popular amusement in Edo. The courtesan painter was a popular theme in Edo prints and painting. Here, a fashionably dressed, coiffured woman paints a landscape with her attendants assisting by preparing ink and holding pigments. Thus, the glamorous and talented courtesans were specially influential in setting standards in personal cultivation, dress, and hairstyle. Occasionally, beauties from the world outside the pleasure quarters also achieved temporary fame and inspired prints celebrating their attractions. The entertainment district was a place not merely to find sexual gratification, but one where artistic experience and ephemeral love combined as a means of escaping time. As impelled by its sobriquet Ukiyo, floating world, it was a realm of imagination that fostered a kind of aesthetic which cherished the passing moment and temporal flux for their own sake. Asai Ryoi, in his Tales of the Floating World, Ukiyo Monogatari, dated 1660, is a satirical account of the life of a bumbling priest named Yukibo, characterized the floating world as living only for the moment, savoring the moon, the snow, the cherry blossoms, and the maple leaves, singing songs, drinking sake, and diverting oneself just in floating, unconcerned by the prospect of imminent poverty. Buoyant and carefree, like a god, carried along with the river current, cited by M. Hickman. Both men and women wore the kosode, small-sleeved robe, a reference to the small wrist opening, an unfitted garment secured with sash, which was the predecessor of the modern kimono. The kosode had evolved from a simple undergarment worn by commoners, but its cut and construction changed little over the course of the Edo period. Although there were exceptions, men generally wore robes with more subdued patterns than women. Auspicious and seasonal motifs with literary associations such as pine, bamboo, plum blossom and cranes were common, as were views of famous places, but more daring dressers might also choose garments with bold, oversized pictorial motifs or even visual and verbal puns. An example of a textile of outer robe decorated with stream and irises, tie-dyeing, paste dyeing and silk thread embroidery on white figured satin. The decoration of this robe was influenced by Rinpa design. The motif of irises by a meandering stream alludes to a celebrated episode in the Tales of Issy. Selection was often made by the consulting printed pattern books containing the latest designs. Published primarily in Kyoto, Osaka, and Edo, these illustrated booklets captivated prospective buyers as well as women who lacked the means to acquire their offerings. Because fashion was a measure of urban status and taste, wealthy merchants lavished vast sums of money on their own and their wives' clothing. The preoccupation with fashion was not limited to women's dress. Men displayed their taste by the choice of accessories such as inro, small exquisitely crafted boxes originally used to hold medicine. In the absence of pockets, an inro suspended from the sash served to hold small personal possessions. An example by Ogawa Haritsu is an inro with elephant. On this oversized inro was fashioned using raised lacquer and brightly colored ceramic inlays, techniques for which this Edo lacquerer was specially noted. Haritsu's novel combination of materials and unusual themes made him one of the most celebrated lacquerers in Edo. Haritsu's novel combination of materials and unusual themes made him one of the most celebrated lacquerers in Edo. It has been suggested that this unusually large inro was designed for use by a sumo wrestler. The materials, forms and styles of inro varied widely according to season, occasion and personal taste, but for the most part they were made of lacquer, sometimes inlaid with precious materials. Like the licensed quarters, kabuki theatres were closely regulated by the government, with Kyoto, Edo and Osaka limited to 4 each. The theatres in Kyoto and Osaka were specially noted for their tragic domestic dramas, while those in Edo specialized in plays recounting the imaginative exploits of valiant warriors. Although there were some highly versatile actors, most specialized in particular types of roles, male or female, good or evil, ghosts and so forth. Their performances attracted audiences of both men and women of all classes. Like modern movie fans, kabuki fans were often as fascinated by the personal lives and behind the scenes preparations of their favorite actors as they were by the action on stage, and painters and print designers catered to this voyeuristic curiosity. In order to assimilate the patterns of female behavior they enacted on stage, many Onagata lived and dressed as women both on stage and off. In the woodblock print by Utagawa Kunisada, Hour of the Monkey, the actor Iwai Hashiri V, a renowned female impersonator Onagata, who dressed as a woman in private life. Kuni Sada shows him with arms raised to arrange his hair, a graceful pose common in portrayal of courtesans. So influential were they that women often patterned their behavior and dress style after those of celebrated female impersonators. Although Japan under the Tokugawa is often described as a secular society, religious institutions left their stamp on urban culture in many ways. Nearly all professional painters filled commissions for devotional images. Many also gave expression to their own personal beliefs through their art. Kyoto had an exceptionally large number of distinguished temples affiliated with Zen Buddhism, the form of Buddhism that emphasizes meditation and intuition. Thus, in Kyoto, the aesthetic values and pictorial traditions associated with Zen Buddhism were specially influential. In the millennium since Buddhism had been introduced to Japan in the 6th century, Buddhist ideals had become so tightly woven into the Japanese cultural fabric that its individual threads were not always readily apparent. Buddhism provided not only the promise of salvation but also a worldview that underlay many unquestioned values and practices. A keen awareness of the brevity of human life and its fleeting pleasures also explains why brothel and entertainment quarters were designated a floating world. The residences of the shogun, daimyo, and ranking samurai were often surrounded by expansive gardens, but large spaces open to public were few. Many temples and shrines had substantial property where large numbers of people could gather for seasonal rituals and festivals. Such events were often accompanied by the display of famous icons, dramatic performances, sumo wrestling, or other spectacles that attracted participants and spectators from the city and beyond. Artist Sumiyoshi Hiromori Mori's hand-scroll horse races at the Kamo Shrine. This annual Kyoto ritual featuring 10 pairs of riders attired in court costume was among the traditional seasonal and religious activities represented by Tosa and Sumiyoshi school painters. Open spaces on the floodplains and river banks along the Kamo River in Kyoto, the Sumida River in Edo, and Yodo River in Osaka were popular gathering places with bustling shops, tea houses, and entertainments of all kinds. Spectacles held along the city river banks often included the display of exotic animal, pseudo-scientific curiosities, and artistic wonders from abroad, offering the public tantalizing glimpses of the outside world. Participation in such activities played an important part in the professional lives of many artists. The painter like Tagya supported his travels by giving demonstrations of finger painting in his Orchid and Rock. Flowering orchid are a time-honored Chinese pictorial subject. Flowering orchids are a time-honored Chinese pictorial subject emblematic of beauty and nobility in the face of adversity. Tagya's interpretation of this theme is unusual in that it was painted using only ink-dipped fingers. The 7-character inscription, "Orchid flowers worn by a person of elegance emit extra fragrance," is a partial quotation from a Chinese poem accompanying an illustration in the Chinese painting manual known in Japan as Hashugafu while his contemporary Maruyama Okayo launched his career as a painter of perspective pictures. Megane, used in a kind of stereoscopic device popular at fairs. Katsushika Hokusai enhanced his reputation by giving public painting demonstrations before a spellbound audience. In addition to such boisterous public events, townspeople could participate. In addition to such boisterous public events, townspeople could participate in various cultural pastimes to a quieter and more private nature. Poetry clubs, especially those where members composed epigrammatic hakai, known today as haiku, three-part poems usually of 17 syllables, or witty kyoka, literary crazy verse under the guidance of master, were popular in cities, towns and villages throughout the country. Some of the most sumptuous woodblock printed books and the New Year greetings, Surimono, were privately published under the auspices of such groups. Also popular were painting and calligraphy gatherings where amateurs were guided by professionals or worked jointly on a single composition. Kawanabe Kiyosai Paintings Party is a hanging scroll, ink and light colors on paper, and is in the Tiger Collection, USA. This shows two artists holding brushes in their hands, surrounded by fellow painters and calligraphers prepared to paint. In the background, completed scrolls are displayed. The works created in such social settings were often seen as a part of continuous dialogue between friends. Temples and shrines were occasionally the setting for such events, but because of the spirited and carefree ambience prevailing there, tea houses in and around the pleasure quarters became the favorite gathering place for the leading literary and artistic personalities in every city. The tea ceremony, Chan Oyu, an important vehicle for interclass association and for transmission and popularization of classical Chinese and Japanese cultural values, was avidly practiced in many urban centers, but especially Kyoto and Osaka. Its greatest flowing was among those with the means to acquire the many costly ceramics and lacquer utensils required for preparing and serving the powdered green tea. With the growing admiration for Chinese customs and culture in the 8th century, Chanyu was overshadowed in popularity by the gatherings at which sencha, steeped tea, was served. Sencha was prepared in a small teapot and served in tiny individual cups. Sencha drinking, which originated in China, fostered a more informal gatherings compatible with the cultivated spirit of the learned class. It also helped to revitalize ceramic production in Kyoto and elsewhere. Reading was without doubt the single most popular recreational activity among all classes, sexes, and age. The growing literacy and demand for books among all classes spewed significant expansion and diversification of the publishing industry during the 17th century. The growing literacy and demand for books among all classes spurred significant expansion and diversification of the publishing industry during the 17th century. Before 1590, Buddhist temples held a near monopoly on printing, and most of the books they issued were religious in nature. But within a century, more than 10,000 works had been printed. These ranged from illustrated Japanese literary classics such as the Tales of Issei and the Tales of Genji, and contemporary novels written predominantly in easy-to-read Japanese syllabary, to botanical treatises and guides to female etiquette. Publishing was dominated by firms in Kyoto, Edo, and Osaka, but smaller operations existed in other cities such as Nagoya and Nagasaki. However, this vogue soon gave way to woodblock printing, which was less costly. Since many publications were illustrated and the demand for designs so varied in subject and style, publishers offered employment to many artists. In the 18th and 19th centuries, artists of nearly every school sought to expand their following by issuing instruction manuals, providing both professional and amateur artists with pictorial models, motifs, and brush techniques. An example can be quoted of Wang Gai's landscape in the round fan format from the Mustard Seed Garden painting manual. This Japanese edition of a popular 17th century Chinese painting manual was one of the first multicolor woodblock books printed in Japan. It had a profound influence on many artists of the Edo period, especially those of the literary school. The dissemination of these and other picture books by peddlers, lending libraries, and schools gave aspiring painters and craftsmen, even the remotest village, access to metropolitan themes and styles. The urban artist. Most artists lived in urban centers, clustered together in districts where potential clients equipped with guides to the city. Although there were social distinctions among them, there was no clear-cut differentiation between the craftsman and the artist, or the decorative and the fine arts, such as developed in Renaissance Europe. Calligraphy and painting were regarded as sister arts. Their practitioners, who employed the same tools, materials, and techniques, were the most highly esteemed among artists because of their ability to apprehend the spirit of essence of things and transmit it through their brush. Kawahara Keigyas, painters in his studio with pupils. In the painting, a painter gives instruction to two samurai pupils in a luxuriously appointed interior. Keigya painted this idealized image of the artist at work for his patron, von Siebold, physician to the Dutch on Deshima Island in Nagasaki Harbor from 1823 to 1829. Their activities, however, were not limited to hanging scrolls and screens. Many also used their talents to decorate ceramics, furnish designs for lacquer, and even hand-paint garments. Calligraphers and painters were also active in the design of woodblock prints and illustrated books. Sculptors esteemed in earlier periods because of their specialized technical skills were not as highly regarded as those who wielded the brush. On the other hand, the requirements of official decor, gift-giving, and tea ceremony, all of which made use of a wide range of lacquer, ceramics, and metal utensils, gave potters, lacquerers, and metal workers respect and status not shared by the pre-modern European counterparts. The raku tea bowls and bamboo tea scoops fashioned by aficionados of tea ceremony for presentation to friends and disciples, for example, were often more sought after than those made by professional potters and carvers of bamboo. Honami Koetsu, black raku tea boil, who made raku tea boils for his own use or for gifts to friends. Hand-modeled raku was the way of choice since amateur potters generally lacked the technical skill required for wheel-turned vessels. Most artists belonged to groups based on kinship or artistic affinity. The hereditary Kano and Tosa schools exemplify the former, and the more loosely linked Rinpa and Literati the later. Belonging to a recognized lineage or tradition, artistic family, school or faction was so important that even those most artists belonged to groups based on kinships or artistic affinity. The hereditary Kano and Tosa schools exemplify the former, and the more loosely linked Rinpa and Literati the later. Belonging to a recognized lineage or tradition, artistic family, school or faction was so important that even those who subsequently broke away to form independent studios continued to be identified in relation to the master under whom they had first studied. In these workshops, succession generally passed from father to son, but when the later was deemed unworthy, a talented apprentice was sometimes adopted as heir to the family profession. Kanu Tanyu, active from 1602 to 1674, for instance, kept copies of the Chinese and Japanese paintings that people showed him for authentication. These continued to guide his followers until the end of the Edo period. While some copies were in form of small, rough, monochrome sketches, others, especially those of highly regarded paintings imported from China, were more carefully executed in color. For example, King of Hell is a copy of a painting attributed to Lu Hisan Chung. It is ink and colors on paper, dated to 1658 and at present in the Harvard University, Cambridge, Mass. Artists hailed from all levels of society, but the vast majority belonged to the artisanal or shokunin class. As scenes in views in and around capital indicate, craftsmen generally lived. As scenes in views in and around capital indicate, craftsmen generally living in single-story wooden terraced houses with raised place for conducting business in the front, facing the street and workshops at the back. The painted Kyoto street scene highlights the kinds of artisanal activities typical of most large cities. The shops flanking one street after brocades, money-changing services and clothing scraps. Around the corner are more storefronts displaying lacquer bowls and food boxes, fans, large lacquerware and footwear. The residences were concentrated in areas accordingly to their specialities. The legacy of such residential patterns can still be found in the names of city streets or districts such as Kami-Suki-cho paper-making block, Kasya-machi umbrella ward, Nushi-machi lacquer ward. Although the Tokugawa government recognized shokunin as clearly defined social entity, there was also a limited degree of social mobility within classes and from one class to another. The purveyors of fan pictured in the views in and around capital, for instance, are probably representative of a relatively lower class of artists known as town painters, mashi ishi. Their primary product was ready-made items such as fans, hanging scrolls and screens that had already been decorated within a well-established range of themes and styles. Such works were relatively inexpensive compared to works painted on commission, and therefore were attractive to buyers of modest means and to tourists. whose numbers swelled with the growing popularity and ease of travel in the 19th century. However, though talent, even a fan painter of modest background could achieve great renown, as did Tawaraya Sotatsu and like Tagya. Merchants were involved in the art world on many different and often overlapping levels. Nishimura Ijudo was typical of one who made his living through the publication and sale of works by local artists. In the woodblock print of Utagawa Toyokuni, view of Ijudo fan shop Tirupich is an Oban woodblock print at present in the National Museum, Tokyo. The publisher Nishimura Ijudo sits in the center of his bustling shop, examining a fan surrounded by beautiful women representing sales clerks and customers. His name inscribed on the giant fan-shaped signboard at the top of the composition, as well as on the paper lamp in the lower left, serves as identification and self-advertisement. The artist has also cleverly incorporated his own promotional device. The customer on the right side of the shop is examining a woodblock printed fan with a portrait of Kabuki actor in Tokokuni's distinctive picture, is examining a woodblock printed fan with a portrait of a Kabuki actor in Toyokuni's distinctive pictorial style. Aficionados of Chanyu often doubled as agents and dealers in domestic and imported ceramics. Because of the high esteem for painting and calligraphy, most men and women born to wealthy merchant families received instruction in these arts from an early age. Later, failing family fortunes or personal inclination sometimes led them to use these skills in a professional capacity, as did Ogata Korin and his brother Kenzan. There were also wealthy merchants such as Kimura Kenkedo of Osaka, who patronized talented painters and calligraphers, receiving in return artistic instruction, although they too might be involved in the art world on a commercial level. These merchants saw themselves primarily as amateur artists. After the reunification of the country, the samurai's ability to wield a sword, shoot with a bow and arrow, or ride horseback was demonstrated chiefly on the occasion of ceremonial games such as dog chasing matches or the annual archery competition held at Kyoto Sanju Sangado Hall. Declining mastery of the martial arts was offset by growing mastery of painting, calligraphy, poetry and related arts. Faced with unemployment or insufficient income, many samurai took advantage of these skills, becoming professional artists or teachers of their more affluent peers or of chonin. Most daimyo who ruled over the nation's 200 or so feudal domains could boast some skill as painters or calligraphers. Daimyo were also prominent patrons of Kyoto's Nishijin weavers, from whose looms emanated the sumptuous brocade costumes used in North China, whose performance was a requirement of formal receptions hosted by the shogun and daimyo. To increase their income and cultural prestige, some daimyo also took active roles in promoting the production of luxury crafts in their domains. Plate with flower and rock motif. It is a late 17th, early 18th century craft Nebishima ware and in the collection of Bor Geneva. Nebishima ware gets the name from the daimyo under whose official auspices it was made. Calligraphy was an area in which the imperial family and court had traditionally excelled, since it was held that fine handwriting was a sign of character, and many Edo period calligraphic lineages was a sign of character, and many Edo period calligraphic lineages claimed aristocratic founders. Mastery of calligraphy often went hand in hand with literary scholarship, especially in the classical 31 syllabi Waka poem and prose, classics such as the Tale of Genji and Tales of Issei, which had been composed by the members of the nobility during Heian period. Many of the great poets and poetesses of that distant era were as admired for their calligraphic hand as for their verse, and the Kyoto courtiers who saw themselves as the heirs to that tradition often emulated their writing styles. An album from Kone Nobutada, page from poems of the 36 immortals of poetry. This is an album, ink on paper, decorated with gold and silver, and at present in the National Museum, Tokyo. The courtier Nobutada was among the most distinguished calligraphers of his day. His classical 31 syllabi Waka poem inscribed on decorated paper is typical of his style. The Tokugawa shogunate adoption of Confucianism as a state ideology also led to a diminished status for monks. With the possible exception of Chinese immigrants affiliated with the newly induced Obaku sect of Buddhism, destined to become one of the three main sects of Zen in Edo, Japan, Obaku had a profound cultural impact, first in Nagasaki and later throughout the country. Replaced by Confucian scholars as teachers to the ruling elite, some monks turned their attention to the education of commoners, both in the city and in the provinces, thus contributing significantly to the growth of literacy. Others, dissatisfied with the worldly distractions of the urban environment, took up a life of wandering or retreated to remote mountain temples where they could devote themselves more fully to religious and artistic pursuits. Artists shaped and responded to urban aesthetic tastes and ideals, both through their own and through artistic instruction. Despite the importance attributed to individual artistic expression, many belong to associations based on kinship or affinity that provided training, friendship, patronage, and financial security. Such affiliations were essential to artistic identity and to the survival in the highly competitive urban environment.